Hi and welcome to Old School Blues Guitar. It is time for the chord of the month for the months of May-June 2016. This series I just started a couple months back, and all I'm trying to do is teach some chords. A lot of guys start playing blues guitar and all they learn are single string bends and runs and all that, and they never learn the chords, which are so important to the style of classic blues, old school blues guitar. And the first chord, we went through a basic 7th chord, C7 shape, which you use all the time. Another chord, which is a real workhorse for you, if you're listening to the old Chess recordings, Sun recordings with Howlin' Wolf, any of that old stuff, is the 2nd position, 9th chord. And so I'm going to show you the chord and then explain where you find it, and then I'll show you just a couple uses, a couple ways you can practice this chord if you're just getting started. This series is mostly for guys who are just getting into this, and gals too, just beginning to play this kind of music. So let's take it, let's do an F ninth. Actually, let's do A ninth, or a D ninth. Here is my A, first position A bar chord. If we're playing a song in A, our 1 is A, our 2 is D, our 4 is D, and our 5 is E. And so when we go to the 4, a lot of times you'll hear this chord in the playing of T-Bone Walker, Little Walter tunes, Sonny Boy tunes, all kinds of stuff, Wee Creighton. The 9th chord, 2nd position, I'm playing it at the 5th fret. This is the D, the 5th fret of the 5th string. My second finger, that's my second finger is there. My first finger is on the 4th fret of the 4th string. And then I take my ring finger and I flatten it out at the 5th fret to cover the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st strings. When you learn any chord, something that helped me out is when I try to learn a chord, I keep practicing putting my fingers down and playing it until I can hear all the notes in the chord clearly. If you hear one muted or it doesn't sound right, you probably don't have your fingers in the right spot. Check yourself. Look at the fretboard, look at your fingers, make sure they're in between the frets, and make sure it comes out clean. Pick each note, and then you know you've really got it. How do you find this chord? Well, the way I do it, maybe not musically right, but you can look for the root. So here's the 5th. You know that's a D. So the root on the 5th string. What chord are you in? What note is that? That's a D. So I know that's a D ninth. When I was just starting to learn guitar, the way I learned it was looking for the 2nd position bar chord. So here's a D. And then I just knew at the bottom of that, that's where my 9th chord was going to be. In fact, I think that's how my brain still does it. So for instance, if you're playing in C, and you need to go to an F ninth, here's my F, 2nd position bar chord. There's my F ninth. If you're playing in D, you're going to G for your 4. So here's my G, 2nd position bar chord. Here's my G ninth. And that's how you find the chord. Now you'll hear this a lot in different styles. The style that I first really got into this chord with was T-Bone Walker's playing. And when he's playing over the 4 and the 5, he almost always uses this 1st position or 2nd position 9th chord. So he's playing a tune, let's go in A, and stay in that tune. So he's over the 1, he's usually doing something like this. Then when he goes to the 4, he walks into it. And this is a way you can use the 9th chord in a slow tune from 1 fret below, or 1 fret above. So we want to end up on a D ninth, since we're playing in A and our 4 chord is a D. So we're going to take it from here and just move that shape into the D ninth. So you'll hear that a lot. And then when he goes to the 5, he'll do the same thing. Sometimes you can walk it 2 frets. So we're going from the E ninth to the D ninth. We can do it like that. Or when we're going to the 5 or the E ninth, we can climb into to it from below, from the D ninth to the E ninth. You'll hear that chord used a lot. Another place where I hear this chord a lot is in Wayne Bennett's playing, or whoever it is playing with Bobby Bland when he does this famous Stormy Monday. Pretty sure that's Wayne Bennett. And his version is an A flat, at least that's where I see it on the recording. And he does these really cool things with those second position 9th chords. He does stuff like this. Before going into the 1. I actually did it in the A flat position at times. So if we did an A, all kinds of ways you can move those chords around. You can also use them kind of in place of a 7th chord at the end of the first part of a verse. And so if you're playing an A, you could do something like this. So when you get to the 4, when you get ready to go from the 1 to the 4 in the song, you can use that A9 as sort of a transition to that. Sounds cool. So I'm playing this double stop shuffle. Instead of just playing that all the way through, I throw the chord in. And that's a cool thing. Also with those 9th chords, you can slide them. So if I'm an A, when I go to the 4, I could do something like this. So, like that. And all I'm doing there is sliding from the D9th to the E9th and back. I can vary the picking and get all kinds of different sounds out of those 9th chords. Another thing that's helpful about these second position 9th chords is when you're playing a solo, you can play some really cool stuff over that chord. And the guy that in blues, the guy that I hear do this the most often is Wee Creighton. And sometimes when he gets to the 5, let's say he's playing a tune in A, and he gets to the 5, he might do these little licks that do that very well. You know, you can play these, something like that. Mix it up, I'm just playing all kinds of neat little melodic things you can play over that chord shape. Check out my lesson on Wee Creighton's playing and you'll see how I do that. So our chord of the month for June or May and June 2016, the second position 9th chord. Just like that. If you take your pinky and go to the 1st string 2 frets up from the 5th fret, 7th fret, you got a 13th chord. That's another variation of that chord. But the 9th chord all by itself, very, very useful if you're trying to learn old school electric blues stuff. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. I have a diagram and some tab for some of those ideas that I showed you. I'll have that posted as soon as I can. I'm a little behind on my tabs. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you back again in a couple months with another very useful, very practical chord for old school blues guitar. See you later.